What's up, guys? So today I'm gonna talk about my favorite Marvel superhero movies. Now, I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. I grew up watching Marvel. I was more into Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, you name it. I was more into those guys than DC. So I'll explain on the next video on why is it that I like, Marvel better than DC. In the meantime, these are my favorite Marvels. These are my favorite Marvel movies that I love to watch, and I still watch them to this very day. So the first one, Iron Man. The first one, the very first one. I love Tony Stark. I love Tony Stark. Tony to me, he was this arrogant, cocky, but funny type of person. And he was like a type of person who you pretty much some people will probably look at him the wrong way. But like as you get to know him, you were like, no, he's like a decent human being. He's like, like he's cool to hang out with. He just, he's goofy. And man, like I was, as soon as he put that first Iron Man suit, man, I love the suit ever since then. Iron Man to me is like one of my favorite characters of all time. It was a shame that, they had to kill the character Tony Stark on the Avengers Endgame, which I get to that in a minute. But overall, man, the whole Iron Man series, and Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3, they're all were my favorite. Okay, I know some people didn't like, maybe like some people would say, well, some people like the first one better than the second one, or some people like the third one better than the second one, or whatever. I like them all. To me, I was more into not only the character, but I was more into the story of Tony Stark, which basically that's to me that's what it seems like the movie was. The movie was basically, it's more about Tony Stark and who he is as a person and how he became Iron Man, and how he saves the world and everything else. So that's that's uh that's one of my favorite movies is Iron Man. Next one is Captain America movies, all from the first Avengers and the Winter Soldier and the Civil War. If I had to pick which one was better, honestly, it will go between probably will go between Winter Soldier and the Civil War. Because man, when he came out with the Winter Soldier, especially that costume, man, I was like, man, that is Captain America. Because I wasn't, because the first Avengers, like I get what the movie was about, because basically it was showing you how Steve Rogers became Captain America, and how he had big arms, and how he was able to be the superhero. So that was basically, to me, that's what the movie was about. Um, but when they did the Winter Soldier, it shows you, how much of a badass Captain America could be, how much badass Steve Rogers can be, and how he has, his true friendship between, him and the Winter Soldier, which is Bucky. Um, it was the chemistry they have, especially on the first Avenger. You saw that they have like that brotherhood, like they were both close. They were so close, like they were like brothers. You know what I mean? And some people can relate to that, where you're like close to this friend of yours who you see him like as like a little brother or a big brother or a sister or whatever. So that's how I saw from the Captain America First Avenger. And as far as like the Civil War, I mean, shit, you can tell that it was more based on loyalty, and all about who you trust, who do you really trust, and when Spider-Man came out, I mean, I was amped just like everybody else. I'll never forget it. When I was watching the movie, right, and as soon as Spider-Man came out, the whole crowd in the movie theater was screaming. We're like, yeah, yeah, Spider-Man, you know. And I was one of those people, you know. I was amped, man. I was, man, that shit made me want to, you know, be like, you know what I mean? Like, I was, you know, it was awesome, man. I love the Civil War, especially when the Black Panther came out, you know. I mean, it was fun, man. That movie was awesome, you know. So I would go between the Civil War first, and I talk about the whole, you know, the Captain America trilogy, you know. I go first the Civil War first, then the Winter Soldier, and then the least of my favorite would probably be the first Avengers, you know. So that's pretty much. But my overall, my favorite movie for Captain America, it's gonna be Civil War. Just like overall, my favorite movie for Iron Man, without a doubt, is the first one. The first one. You know. Another favorite superhero movie. We gotta talk about everybody's favorite, most of people's favorite. Well, actually, I should say, you know, majority of people's favorite is the Avengers Infinity War. Man, shit. I was as shocked and it was amped and it was like glued into the movie screens as everybody else would. You know, listen, say what you want about Thanos, but in my opinion, to me, there's not one person, there's not any other villain who is more badass and more evil and more savage than Thanos himself. To me, I don't know any other villain that can possibly, you know, top him off. Possibly, probably the one which I'll get to, you know, well, I should say it now. Probably the closest one that we might be able to see is Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. Because there's rumors about that. There's chances are I have a good feeling where, you know, he might be the he might be she might be a bad girl, you know, because of her powers, you know. So, which I'm interested in seeing Doctor Strange too, you know. I can't remember what the exact title of Doctor Strange 2, but you know, but overall I'm excited for that movie. But anyway, so you know, with the Infinity War, back to Thanos, man, I mean, you have to admit, like, Thanos had a little bit of decent respect for you as a villain because he came out as badass and he didn't take shit from nobody. You know, he was that guy that, you know, he will take whatever he wants and he'll do whatever it takes to get what he wants, you know, which was to destroy half of the universe. So, you know, so that's another favorite of my, you know, one of my favorite superhero movies is the Infinity War. Then the next one, I gotta say the Age of Ultron. Well, you know what? No, if we gotta talk about Infinity War, we gotta talk about the Endgame. Man, the Endgame. Listen, if it was up to me, if I were to pick, you know, back to Infinity War, if I were to put, like, you know, a rated star, easily I would have put 5 out of 5. Just like for Endgame I would have put 5 out of 5. But, you know, with Endgame, you know, I'm not an emotional person, but I was a little bit emotional when, you know, when Tony died. But he died in such a heroic, you know. He died in such a heroic, respectful, powerful way, you know. It's like, you know, this is like the path where you want to go. As a matter of fact, did you guys see in Disney Plus? If you go on Disney Plus, if you guys haven't seen it, there is on the Endgame, on the deleted scenes, there's a part where while he was, you know, sitting on the, I don't know if it was like a back of the rock or back of the wall or something like that, where he was already, you know, dying after he defeated, you know, after he saved the universe. You saw when, you know, as he was, you know, as soon as he snapped his fingers, I can't even snap that loud. We can't even hear it, right? Can't hear it? No, okay. As soon as he snapped his fingers, man, when he had an image of seeing his daughter, but when she was grown up. And when I saw that, man, I had chills going down my spine, man. I mean, I had chills everywhere. I mean, I was like, wow. Like, that was in his mind. Like, his mind, like, he wanted to make sure that not only, of course, Pepper was okay, but more importantly, he wanted to see if his daughter would be okay if he would, if he has to move on, if he was gonna pass away. So to me, it seems like as soon as he heard that, as soon as he had that image from his daughter, to me, I think he was more peaceful with that than when Pepper saying that they're gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Or we're gonna be okay, something like that. To me, or it could probably be both, where he was more peaceful in, in both his daughter and Pepper saying that they were gonna be okay. I would say, probably it'd be something like that. He'd be more peaceful. But yeah, that end game, the action and the storytelling. I was big with action and the storytelling of the superheroes, man. It was a fun movie. I still watch it to this day. And every time I watch it, it still amps me up. So everybody, most of the people would probably agree to that it's like one of the best, if not the best, favorite, one of the best movies of all time. One of the best Marvel movies that we ever have in our entire life. And by the way, these favorites, or these favorite movies that I have, they're not in order. I'm just thinking randomly of the favorite, to me, what are the best movies I have seen and what I love and what's my favorite. What are my favorite movies that I love to watch. So with that said, post your comments down below and let me know what you think. What is your favorite what are your favorite Marvel movies, and tell us why. And also, if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and share. And yes, as we continue to move forward, we go to 1 million subscribers. So let's do this. Yeah.